Alright folks, stock your pantries, lock down your bunkers, and put on your tinfoil hats. We're about to go straight into Conspiracy Theory Town. Heist League introduced many new NPCs who work in a for-hire thievery operation called The Ring. In future videos, I'll look at the origins and leadership of The Ring, and the many Easter eggs and references to lore in the dialogue, contracts, and heist items. But today, we're going to talk about one NPC in particular, and how he proves I was right in my Harvest Theory video. Now, you might be thinking, but Noodle, you're always right. And I am, so thank you for noticing. But Niles, the NPC in question, managed to confirm my most far-reaching theory yet. One that I even included a tinfoil hat in to acknowledge how far of a reach I was making. Now, for the real tinfoil hat theory, is GGG watching my videos and including my theories in new content? I'll link my Harvest video in the description, and if you haven't seen it, I do recommend watching it. I released that video before Harvest League was out. In that video, I talked about Oshabi, the new Harvest League NPC, and who I thought she worshipped. I wanted to figure out what Oshabi's interest in plants stemmed from, and if there was any lore related to gardening. I based this theory off one in-game item, with one vague mention of a god I theorized was an Azmiri god of the earth, Viridi. This connection was based on the flavor text of the Prismatic Eclipse, the only mention in-game of Viridi. It describes a creation myth of the earth, talking about Solaris and Lunaris shaping an orb, presumably the Earth, and ending with, "Yet Viridi remained, trapped within forevermore." Going off this one quote, this only mention of Viridi, I theorized that Oshabi worshipped Viridi, because the Earth grows plants, and Oshabi was all about plants. I went even further and hypothesized that Viridi might be the real name of Spirit, the god or being that Yena follows, since both Oshabi and Yena are Azmiri, and Viridi was the only Azmiri god not yet seen in-game. In Harvest League, there were a couple partial confirmations of my theory. Oshabi mentioned that she worshipped the voice of the land, and was once part of the Azmiri tribe that Yena and the others in Act 2 belonged to. I was technically wrong about Oshabi not being part of the same tribe as Yena and the others, but the truth was even more confirmation. Oshabi was once part of that Azmiri tribe and was banished. Oshabi says, "I suppose Yena still claims to be the chosen oracle for this spirit." Note the quotation marks. "Let us refuse to speak of them the way they refuse to speak of me. They merely banish any who they deem tainted." We can assume that Yena's spirit is the voice that Oshabi is hearing as well, because she says, "I was once blessed with a deep connection to the land. It would speak to me and nourish me, but that connection was severed, and in turn, my tribe severed their connection to me." Oshabi implies that once the voice, presumably spirit, stopped talking to her, she was banished, and now Yena hears this spirit. In addition, the forbidden Shako helmet was released during Harvest, which had the second ever mention of Viridi. While this item confirmed Viridi was an Azmiri god, it didn't make any direct connection between Oshabi and Viridi. It just said that the Azmiri should avoid thaumaturgy. The Azmiri must never touch the tears of Magi, lest Viridi weep. While that information might be enough for a half-hearted pat on the back, it's not quite tinfoil bunker level. Then we get Heist. The rogues give us special quest contracts that have lore elements to them. Niles is introduced as an ex-Templar who used a device called the Thought Extractor to interrogate alleged criminals to determine their honesty. He's a conspiracy theorist. He doesn't believe in any gods, thinking they are all a grand plan by the powers that be to keep people controlled and fearful. He says, "I don't know how you convinced a city full of people that you slew some sort of rampaging god, but There is no way that the ground could support a being that large. Did you see the footprints? Clearly fake, carved by Templar artisans to deceive the populace. While this is a fun nod to Bigfoot conspiracy theories, it's only one of many conspiracies he brings up. I'll go over more of his theories in my other video. At one point, he gives us a contract called a mundane sample that asks us to retrieve, of all things, Viridi's finger. But wait, there's more. It confirms that Viridi's finger is an Asmirian artifact. Not only that, but Viridi's finger is said to cause enormous plants to grow from almost any soil. So Viridi is definitely related to the earth and plants. And now, hold on to your tinfoil hats. The contract flavor text also says, the myth claims we need to sacrifice a baby to make it function. If you're not sure why that's so crazy, besides baby sacrifice, let's go back to Harvest League. When Oshabi is telling us why she was banished from the Asmiri tribe, she mentions that she tried to sacrifice a child to the voice of the land, and that's why she was asked to leave. She says, they could not hear the whispers. The Asmiri were deaf to the land, but for me. They did not understand why I took the child, why I offered her to the earth. I felt the land demand a sacrifice, and when they stopped it, that is when the land withdrew. So, if Oshabi is trying to grow plants and wanted to sacrifice a child to the voice of the land, the spirit, to help the plants grow, and there's an artifact called Viridi's finger that makes plants grow, with a myth you need to sacrifice a child to make them grow, that totally confirms to me that Oshabi was worshipping Viridi all along, and Viridi is spirit. But why? Why, of all people, does the conspiracy theorist Niles, bring up Viridi and confirm this theory? Is it just a divine coincidence that proves my unstable genius? Or is this an indication of GGG watching my videos and implementing some theories into the game? And if it's the latter, what do I do with this newfound power? Was I right all along, or is GGG poking fun at my attempts to piece together information from almost no evidence? And if GGG is watching, please tell me, was I right about Harbinger? Please? GGG? You there? Thank you so much for watching. It's your boy Noodle. I needed to break up these heist videos because there's just so much information to unpack here, so look out for more coming soon. If you like these videos, please subscribe, like, and maybe even share them. Do you think I should do more theories and see if GGG is using them? Comment below if you have any interesting theories, and until next time, stay sane, Exile.